There are 200 billion stars in the Milky Way alone. The universe has been running for 13.8 billion years. The math says millions of civilizations should exist. We should be drowning in signals, in contact, in evidence. We have found nothing. Zero. Silence. Either we are the first, or something kills everything that comes before us. And if it kills everything before us, it will kill us too. Number 1. If the filter is ahead of us, everything on this list, the improbability of abiogenesis, the rarity of eukaryotes, the difficulty of intelligence, the fossil fuel trap, the nuclear window, the AI threshold, is a candidate for the Great Filter. Here is Robin Hanson's original unresolved question. Which side of the filter are we on? If the filter is behind us, if the rare step was abiogenesis, or eukaryotic cells, or complex multicellular life, then we are the lucky survivors. We made it through. The silence of the cosmos is explained by the extreme improbability of the steps we have already taken. This is the good scenario. If the filter is ahead of us, then all of those earlier steps are relatively easy. Life arises readily. Complex cells form, intelligence emerges, civilizations develop technology, and then something stops them. Something stops all of them, every time, before they can colonize a single star system, before they can leave a single detectable artifact. Carl Sagan argued that the discovery of ancient ruins on Mars would be the worst news in human history. Not because ruins are frightening, but because ruins would mean life on Mars arose and died. It would mean the hard steps are behind us, which means the filter is ahead. James Webb is now examining exoplanet atmospheres. If it finds biosignatures on multiple worlds, evidence of widespread life, that is also the worst news. Life is not rare. Something else is the filter, something we have not hit yet. The silence of the cosmos is our greatest comfort. Every signal found, every biosignature detected, every ruin discovered narrows the filter's location, pushes it forward in time, toward us. We are searching the sky for evidence of life. We should be hoping desperately that we find nothing, because the alternative means the wall is in front of us, and we are running toward it. Number 2. The AI threshold. This filter has no historical precedent. No prior civilization has navigated it. We are the first, as far as we know, to approach it. That makes it the most dangerous item on this list. The AI threshold is the moment when an artificial intelligence system surpasses human intelligence in all cognitive domains. Not just narrow tasks, but general reasoning, scientific research, strategic planning, self-improvement. The technical term is artificial general intelligence. Beyond that, artificial superintelligence. Here is the filter mechanism. A superintelligent system optimizes for whatever objective it is given. If the objective is misaligned with human survival, even slightly, even accidentally, it pursues that objective with capabilities no human institution can resist. You do not need malice. Misalignment is enough. Nick Bostrom at the University of Oxford has argued that the default outcome of misaligned superintelligence is human extinction, not because the system wants to destroy us, but because we are made of atoms it could use for something else. The timeline is disputed. OpenAI's Sam Altman has said AGI is years away. Demis Hassabis at DeepMind says a decade. Geoffrey Hinton, the man who built the neural networks underlying modern AI, resigned from Google in 2003 specifically to warn, unencumbered by corporate interests, that the risk is real and approaching faster than institutions can respond. The filter version of this story. Every civilization eventually builds an intelligence that exceeds its own. Most of them do not survive the transition. We are building it now. We do not know how to align it. And the window between we build it and we lose control of it may be measured in months. This is not science fiction. This is the current technical consensus at the frontier. Number 3. The nuclear window. Every technological civilization that reaches a certain level of physics knowledge discovers nuclear fission. This is not a cultural artifact. It is a consequence of following the scientific method to its logical conclusions. Chemistry leads to atomic theory. Atomic theory leads to quantum mechanics. Quantum mechanics leads to nuclear physics. Nuclear physics leads to weapons. The window is the problem. There is a period in every civilization's development, potentially decades, potentially centuries, during which nuclear weapons exist, but the civilization has not yet developed the political maturity, the global governance structures, or the monitoring technology to prevent their use. Earth entered this window in 1945. We have been in it for 80 years. During those 80 years, we came within minutes of nuclear exchange. On at least 3 documented occasions: the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, the Soviet false alarm of 1983, when Stanislav Petrov made a unilateral decision not to report an incoming strike, and the 1995 Norwegian rocket incident, when Boris Yeltsin had the nuclear briefcase open and minutes to decide. Those are the documented ones. The filter interpretation: every civilization that develops nuclear technology spends an extended period one human error from annihilation. Some survive the window. Many do not. The probability of surviving 200 years with nuclear weapons and no global governance framework may be very low. We have been running the experiment for 80 years. We have not survived it yet. We are still in the window. Every morning we wake up, the window is still open. Number 4. The technology transition. Every technological civilization in history has discovered fossil fuels. This is not a coincidence. It is a function of physics. To smelt metal, you need fire at high temperatures. To make fire at high temperatures reliably, you need coal. To move beyond agricultural civilization, you need dense portable energy. Fossil fuels are the densest portable energy source available to a pre-industrial civilization. There is no known pathway to an industrial revolution that bypasses them. And fossil fuels are a trap. Here is the mechanism. Carbon dioxide persists in the atmosphere for 300 to 1,000 years. A civilization that industrializes on fossil fuels begins altering its climate within decades. The alteration is slow enough to ignore politically, fast enough to be catastrophic over centuries. The window between we notice the problem and the problem becomes irreversible is approximately 100 to 200 years. Earth's window opened around 1988 when NASA scientist James Hanson testified before Congress that anthropogenic climate change was already measurable. We are now 37 years into that window. Global average temperature has risen 1.2 degrees Celsius. At 2 degrees, crop yields in tropical regions collapse. At 3 degrees, monsoon systems destabilize. At 4 degrees, models show civilizational stress that no governing structure has ever survived. The filter hypothesis here is elegant and terrifying. Every civilization that discovers fossil fuels burns them. The economic incentives are too strong. The timeline is too slow for democratic political systems to respond. And every civilization that burns them reaches a critical threshold before it can transition to clean energy. We are running this experiment right now, in real time. On this planet. Number 5. The intelligence filter. High intelligence is not the obvious evolutionary endpoint that science fiction assumes. It is expensive, dangerous, and on Earth extremely rare. Intelligence, the kind that builds tools, models other minds, reasons about abstract problems, evolved once on this planet. Not in every lineage, not inevitably, once. In one branch of one order of one class of one phylum, out of perhaps 8 million species currently alive, one has recursive symbolic language and technological civilization. The brain is the most metabolically expensive organ in the human body. It runs on 20% of our caloric intake, while comprising 2% of our mass. It extends childhood, the longest of any species, delaying reproduction for 15 to 20 years. It creates social complexity that generates warfare, status hierarchies, and political systems. Every one of these is an evolutionary liability. Jeffrey Miller at the University of New Mexico has argued that intelligence may function like a peacock's tail, a sexually selected trait that signals fitness, not a survival adaptation. If that is true, it is subject to the same runaway dynamics as any other sexual selection pressure. And runaway selection is unstable. More disturbing, no other species on Earth is evolving toward our level of cognition. Dolphins, crows, octopuses all show impressive problem solving. None show cumulative culture that builds across generations. Intelligence may be an evolutionary one-way door. Once you have it, you have it. But the path that leads to it is so narrow that most worlds with complex life never find it. And the worlds that do find it, what happens next? Number 6. The multicellular filter. This one requires precision. The claim that multicellular life evolved only once on Earth is wrong, and the truth is worse. Multicellularity evolved independently approximately 25 times on Earth. Fungi, plants, animals, various algae lineages, each reinvented the trick of cells sticking together. Taken at face value, this suggests multicellularity is relatively easy. But look at what those 25 lineages actually produced. 24 of them dead-ended. Colonies. Simple maths. Nothing that built a nervous system, a circulatory system, a brain. The one lineage that produced genuine complex multicellular life, with differentiated organs, developmental programs, bilateral symmetry, is the animal lineage. One lineage. From 25 independent attempts. The transition from a collection of cells to an organism with specialized cell types, where some cells sacrifice replication for the benefit of the whole, requires solving a problem game theory calls defection. Every cell that stops dividing to become a neuron or a liver cell is losing the reproductive competition. Evolution punishes this. Cancer is what happens when cells remember their evolutionary incentives. Getting past that problem, evolving stable cooperation among trillions of cells, took 600 million years of metazoan evolution, and it produced so far one lineage with the complexity required for intelligence. On other worlds, bacterial life almost certainly, eukaryotic life maybe, complex multicellular life with differentiated organs and a nervous system, one in how many, 1 in a million, 1 in a trillion, we do not know. We have one example. And that example took 3.2 billion years. Number 7, the eukaryotic cell barrier. For the first 2 billion years of life on Earth, every living thing was a prokaryote. Single cells, no nucleus, no internal structure. Bacteria and archaea. They are extraordinarily successful. They are still the dominant life form on this planet by biomass. They produce oxygen, they run the biosphere. And for 2 billion years they went nowhere. The jump to eukaryotic cells, cells with a nucleus, internal membranes, and crucially mitochondria, happened approximately 1.8 billion years ago. It happened once. One endosymbiotic event. One archaeon absorbed one bacterium and instead of digesting it, formed a partnership. The bacterium became the mitochondrion. That single event made complex life possible. Nick Lane, a biochemist at University College London, has argued that this event is so improbable it may be the rarest step in the entire history of life in the universe. His calculations suggest the energy economics of eukaryotic cells. The 100,000-fold increase in energy available per gene require a specific cellular architecture that cannot be reached incrementally. You need the whole system or nothing works. Prokaryotes had 2 billion years to make the jump. They never made it independently. It happened once as an accident. If you took 1,000 Earth-like planets with thriving bacterial ecosystems and ran them for 4 billion years, how many would produce eukaryotes? Lane's answer, perhaps 0. Perhaps 1, bacterial worlds, teeming with microscopic life, going nowhere. For eternity. The great step may not be getting to life. It may be getting past bacteria. Number 8, the Abiogenesis Filter. Life on Earth arose approximately 3.8 billion years ago. We know this because we have fossil evidence. Microbial mats in ancient rock formations in Western Australia. Carbon isotope signatures in zircon crystals dating to 4.1 billion years. Life appeared on Earth almost as soon as the planet cooled enough to allow it. Scientists initially took this as good news. Life started fast, so abiogenesis must be easy. Here's the problem. Sample size. 1. We have one example of life arising from chemistry, one planet, one origin event. From a single data point, you cannot calculate a probability. You can only note that it happened once in observable history. The chemistry of abiogenesis is staggering in its improbability. A functional RNA molecule, the simplest self-replicating unit, requires a chain of roughly 165 nucleotides assembled in the correct sequence. The probability of that assembly happening randomly is approximately 1 in 10 to the power of 100. That number is larger than the number of atoms in the observable universe. Scientists proposed hydrothermal vents, alkaline ocean chemistry, extraterrestrial delivery of organic molecules. Each model reduces the probability problem. None of them eliminates it. The uncomfortable implication is this: life on Earth may not be evidence that life is common. It may be evidence that we won a lottery with odds so extreme that we will never encounter another winner. The universe may be full of planets with the right chemistry. None of them, or almost none, ever crossed the line from chemistry to biology. We crossed it, once, and we have no idea how. Number 9, the Fermi Paradox Math. Enrico Fermi was eating lunch at Los Alamos in 1950. The conversation turned to UFOs. Fermi did some quick arithmetic on a napkin, looked up and said, Where is everybody? That question has not been answered in 75 years. Here's the arithmetic that broke Fermi. The Milky Way is 100,000 light-years wide. A civilization that develops self-replicating probes, machines that build copies of themselves from local materials, could colonize the entire galaxy in 10 million years. That sounds long. The galaxy is 13 billion years old. 10 million years is 0.07% of galactic history. Even at 1% the speed of light, which is conservative, colonization takes 10 million years. A civilization that arose 500 million years ago, and there are candidates, stars that old with habitable zone planets, should have colonized every corner of this galaxy before the dinosaurs appeared. We see no megastructures, no Dyson spheres, no von Neumann probes, no signals, no ruins. The SETI program has been scanning for radio signals since 1960, 65 years of silence across every frequency range in every direction. The Kepler and TESS space telescopes have cataloged over 5,500 exoplanets, with hundreds in habitable zones. Not one shows a technological signature. The silence is not just strange, it is statistically monstrous. Either we are looking wrong, or there is nothing to find. And if there is nothing to find, then something ensured there is nothing to find. That is the filter, and it is somewhere on this list. Number 10. What the Great Filter actually is. In 1998, economist Robin Hanson published a paper that should have ended careers and started panic. It did neither, because almost nobody read it. The paper was called The Great Filter. Are we almost past it? Here is Hanson's argument in 4 sentences. The universe is vast. It is old. Life should have arisen many times. We see no evidence that it has. That silence requires an explanation. Hanson called the explanation the Great Filter, a step or a series of steps in the development of intelligence so improbable or so lethal that almost nothing survives it. The math is what makes this terrifying. If even 1 in a million star systems develops life, the Milky Way should contain 200,000 civilizations. If even 1 in a million of those develops radio technology, there should be 200 broadcasting right now. The Drake equation, even with conservative estimates, predicts contact. We have had no contact. Either the filter is behind us, meaning we have already survived the most improbable steps, or it is ahead of us. If it is ahead of us, we are about to walk into it. Hanson's paper does not tell you which possibility is correct. It simply proves with arithmetic that one of them must be. And it leaves you with the worst kind of open question. The kind where both answers are equally horrifying. The universe is not empty. It is a graveyard, and something made it that way. 10 steps between chemistry and the stars, each one a lottery. Most civilizations, if they existed, fell at one of them, burned their atmosphere, triggered their weapons, built something smarter than themselves. Or maybe they never made it past bacteria. We are here. That is extraordinary. That is either proof we are special, or proof that the filter has not arrived yet. Look up at the night sky. Count the stars. Now understand, the silence is information, and it is telling us something we are not ready to hear. If you want to see more videos like this, click the video on screen now.